Welcome to the Rowdy Studios. I'm Buzz Cutler. This is Bassmasters, and it is our post-race Big Three Phoenix edition.
Yep.
Denny Hamlin is not only your race winner, he is now your points leader. He is making a statement that 2011 is a thing of the past.
And he's making a statement along with his crew chief, Darian Grubb, that, hey, we're a pretty strong team here. We're ready to perform. And if you look at Denny Hamlin's last two seasons, he started out poorly. He recovered certainly much better a couple years ago than he did last year. But, you know, if you look at this race, Denny Hamlin and his new crew chief and Kevin Harvick and his new crew chief, I think that's what I really walk away from Phoenix with. These new teams seem to be strong.
Yeah, this just in. Darian Grubb does not suck.
He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing atop that pit box, and the sort of feeling out period of getting to know each other and figuring out how one another likes to communicate.
Right.
Doesn't seem to be an issue as of yet. And if it hasn't reared its head in these first two races, which were such different tracks, maybe it won't at all. We're going to Las Vegas next week, of course, first downforce track of the season, so we'll see what goes down there. But you got to like what you've seen out of Denny Hamlin so far in 2012.
Well, certainly Phoenix is a track that would play to Denny's strengths.
You would think so,
And
but
if
he'd
never
won
He'd
here.
never won there, but he's run very well there in the past. If you come in with a new crew chief and you basically hit a home run at a place where you should, that's a very good sign. Now,
Well,
we'll get to a downforce track next week and we'll learn a little more.
And he and Kevin Harvick were certainly the strongest cars of the day,
Yep.
as you've already mentioned. Now, Jimmie Johnson, who started in negative points, started this race negative in the point standings, earns a top 5 finish, claws his way up the standings to where he's now tied with J.J. Yaley.
Hey, look, Jimmie Johnson did what he had to do, which is kind of stop the bleeding. And there was a little more bleeding to be had in the race when he had a problem with some lug nuts. He looked like he had a race-winning car early in the race. So Jimmie Johnson did what he had to do. Like we said last week, we're not that worried about Jimmie Johnson.
Well, this race was a microcosm for the situation he's found himself in, and what's so good about Jimmie Johnson, he gets behind the 8 ball in this race, just like he has in the point standings, and instead of panicking or getting frustrated or cursing out his team over the radio, he just gets focused and deals with the issue and works his way back up to the front. A top 5 finish, who saw that coming halfway through the race?
I don't think too many people, but you really can't be surprised. This is one of Jimmie's best tracks, so he delivered as well.
He did. Now, a guy who didn't deliver through no fault of his own was Tony Stewart. He turned the car off to save fuel, like everybody does, and he couldn't get the thing restarted.
It's a circuit breaker.
This is
Just flip the breaker.
He needed a new fuse.
Well, he needed it. See, I mean, this is the new fuel injection system.
Well, and this isn't the only time that this has happened.
Right.
It happened to Joey Logano at Daytona. It looked like Denny Hamlin had an issue during his burnout. I'm a little concerned.
Well, you have to know going in with a new system, a brand new system, which is what this fuel injection system is, that there are going to be issues that you don't know about, that you don't understand until you encounter them. And that's what we're seeing right now. I mean, we saw it last year early in the year with the new rules as far as number of guys coming over the wall. With a new gas can, we saw the same thing. Teams figuring this out, trying to get an understanding for how it works, what the issues are. And that's how you learn. You make mistakes and you learn, and that's what we're going to be seeing. But, you know, this thing is software driven.
Right.
Now, who hasn't had a piece of software have a problem?
But that's the thing. You hate to see results affected because of a software issue, at least with
But in this case, it was a circuit breaker now.
With the new gas can, with guys going over the wall, okay, those are mistakes that are made, but they're still human error. This, from what we can see, was a software error, and you just hate to see results affected as a result of something completely out of the team's control.
Well, I don't see us as that different from the other cases that you mentioned. You know, one system is mechanical, another system is digital, basically, and they both have problems, they both have failures that the team has to deal with, but learning how to deal with that kind of thing is it's a process that teams are just going to have to go through.
All right, a couple of shouts out. Martin Truex Jr. has had a couple of good races. Greg Biffle has had a great couple of races.
Yep, much better way to start the season.
Good to see those guys starting strong, and of course, as we mentioned, we go to our first downforce track this coming weekend.
I already know my pick for
downforce track's the key to the season.
Carl Edwards,
Really?
look out. Carl Edwards.
So he'll keep the oil can lid on at Las Vegas this time.
It's going to be cinched down tight.
All right, we'll be talking about Las Vegas later in the week. Make sure you check back.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.